Hello, my name's Sean Reynolds. I am the owner and founder of Fusion Martial Arts. We run sessions in a Hawley Dojo location, full-time centre. We've been established in the Hawley area since 2011 with classes aimed at 7 to 12-year-olds, 4 to 6-year-olds, 3 to 4-year-olds, and we have a broad spectrum of adults and ladies-only sessions as well.
So, going to your classes, how much do the sessions usually cost? And do you have, say, concessions or a taster session?
We don't run a weekly session. I know that a lot of people used to do every activity as pay as you go, but what we discovered was that everybody kind of lost their dedication. So you do a week, not do a couple of weeks, and then do a week. So there's no benefit from it. So what we run is a monthly cost. So if you were to train once a week, it costs 35, and if you were to train twice, it costs 38. Only £3 more to do like one session extra a week. We do a discount for families. So if there was two brothers, for instance, they'd get 10% off their fees every month. But we do also run a taster session, but what instead of just a session, because I know that 45 minutes isn't very long to actually decide whether or not it's something that you want to do, we run a free trial week, so you can come as much as you like for that week and try out as many sessions as you like over that week to decide whether or not the activity is for you or not.
And you also have classes for beginners. I guess this is if someone is new, they haven't got to worry about keeping up with the rest of the class.
Yeah, so recently we kind of split the classes because what we discovered was that the kids that have come for 5, 6 years, they don't want to be doing their snap punch, reverse punches, their basic techniques because they've been doing it for 6 years. They already know that stuff. Whereas when we're practicing more advanced stuff for them, we found that the new people that come through the door, they weren't able to keep up, so they got bored. So to keep everybody happy and to make it easier, because obviously fighting somebody with basic or doing activities with somebody with basic techniques at the same level of you is much better than being left behind doing activity with somebody that's much more advanced. So we introduced beginner sessions for all age groups to make sure that nobody was left behind and everybody enjoyed what they did, really.
And this is not just about martial arts, it's, well, maybe building confidence too.
Yeah, so martial arts over the years has been sold for many different things, but it helps with confidence, it helps with respect, it helps build discipline, it helps with all these different sort of things.
So, some people might say children as young as 3 should not be learning martial arts. They might think it might encourage them to become violent. What are your comments on this?
This is generally a massive misconception that people have with martial arts. Of course, if you want to become a world class fighter, then there is going to be some fighting and some violence along the journey. But obviously, if you want to just go through your belts, then you're not going to be entering competitions for that sort of idea. And not every martial arts is about hitting or a knockout. So if you look at across the board, if you did something like jiu-jitsu, it's about throws rather than smacking people. If you looked at karate, it's about forms and discipline. As for the point of view of 3-year-olds, when we're talking about 3-year-olds doing martial arts, we're looking at motor skills, we're looking at balance, we're looking at coordination, we're looking at listening skills, their focus, and we're kind of teaching them control. So when we talk about control, we're talking about when they go to nursery, they can do whatever they like, but when we put them in a session, like just when they're about to go to school, they're not allowed to run off to the toilet at any point when they go to school. They're not allowed to drink whenever they like. It's kind of like we do it as a group. So in the sessions, we only get a drink when we all get a drink. It's not just one person runs off and get a drink. So there's a bit of discipline and a bit of self-control brought into those sessions to help them get ready to enter into their school. So it's perfect for people that, 3, 4-year-olds that aren't quite at school age and they need to start integrating a little bit more.
So, why do you think that children should try out martial arts?
Children should try out martial arts because it's going to give them a reward in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to give them lots of life skills. So, for instance, we've had kids come through the door with ADHD who parents have just said, they don't concentrate at school, they don't do anything. We can't get them to do what we want them to do because they're just generally misbehaving. And it's a release of energy, it gives them something to belong to, and it gives them something to actually strive to do, whether that be get their next belt, whether it be win a trophy, but it gives them something to strive for. It teaches them confidence and everything else. So I think every child should give it a go and see what they think about it.
And can people just come along to, say, for fun or fitness, or do they have to do the grading?
Nobody is forced to grade, so that's completely up to them. I kind of support you in your journey in whatever you do. So if you want to come along and do your gradings, I'll support you in that. I'll get you ready for your gradings. If you want to come along for the fun, for the social aspect, then come along, take part in the sessions, and of course that social aspect comes with it. But that's completely up to you, really.
So does your club compete in competitions at all?
We do compete in competitions. So myself, I compete a lot more than everybody else. So for instance, I'm off to Belgium in October. We're taking an 11-year-old that wants to start competing a little bit more out to Ireland in March. So we'll be off to Dublin. But the sport that we do is so big that you could travel the world really and compete anywhere that you really wanted to. There's a massive scene in America. There's competitions in Australia. You could kind of go wherever you want, and it just depends on how far you want to take the sport.
That's amazing. Not just in the UK, but you could go visiting all over the world.
Well, yeah, when I'm actually taking part to try and get on the GB squad, and the Worlds have just taken place for the juniors, actually last week in Macedonia, of all places, and you're talking about there was people from India, Bulgaria, Poland, Russia. They literally travel from across the world, America, Canada. There's a massive team in Canada. There's a big team in Belgium. There's a team everywhere. So it's a sport that incorporates the whole world really, and everyone strives for different ways. There's a big team in Hungary that is renowned for the sport, and they're spoken about everywhere. So yeah, it's around the world.
And can I ask, when does your next ladies course start, or ladies only course? When does that start, and what does it involve?
So our ladies only course is aimed at beginners. It starts the first week of October, and it's aimed at those that want to get fit but want to learn the martial arts or want to try something a little bit different. We teach them basic martial arts techniques. We look at the fitness aspect of martial arts, and then we start to build a little rapport and a bit of a community between them, and then we start to progress through. Once the 4 weeks is up, then they move on to the standard ladies class. So this has been really popular. We actually started it this year, and the class is already at 12 regular attendees, and there's more that come and go, but this is really popular and the ladies do love it. They come every week, say yeah, really enjoyed it, and they come back next week, the same thing. They leave buzzing. I think one lady actually said she couldn't sleep because she couldn't fight off the buzz.
So how many people, children or adults, do you normally have in each class?
We have a maximum of 20 kids in each class. Generically across the board, the biggest class that we have at the moment is probably 15. So we have 100 members in total, but it's kind of spread over 5 days. So we run Monday to Thursday and then Saturday mornings. And it's quite well spread between the ages. Funny enough, the quietest age is actually 7 to 12-year-olds, because they're kind of at that stage in life where they start to grow a bit of fear, they start to question stuff, and that's kind of the hardest age to get people in. Because when you're an adult, you decide what you want to do, and you're going to face that fear, whereas when you're 3 and 4, you don't have that fear and you just go for it. And so 7 to 12 is the age group that's quieter, but across the board we do have people of all ages. There's a lady that's 56, 57, and then we've got children as young as almost 3. So yeah, it covers everybody, and the classes are like quite quiet in the terms of, I know that from videos and stuff, you watch people and there'll be like 100 people taking part in a session. Obviously in real terms that doesn't work when you've got children rolling around the floor and stuff. So 20 is kind of our maximum, and 12 is our standard session really.
Well, Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you.